Hey guys, Justin from Mushroom Mountain. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Today I wanted to show you guys how we grow oyster mushrooms on straw or any kind of pasteurized substrate. It's super easy. It uses a bunch of household materials, most of which you guys probably already have, and it's a super beginner friendly and budget friendly way to grow. So I'm really excited to show you guys today. So let's get into it. All right, you guys, so what you're looking at is basically all we need to grow some oyster mushrooms at home. We recommend doing this outside because working with straw is really messy, and it's going to be a whole mess inside that you're not going to want to clean up. But then we got a table here, and then we're going to need some sanitizer. This is a chlorhexidine in this bottle, but you can also use 70% isopropyl alcohol, just some regular rubbing alcohol. And then we got some paper towels. And then we got our spawn here. This is warm blue oyster spawn from Mushroom Mountain.
You can store these sawdust blocks of spawn in the fridge for about 6 months. We recommend using them within the first 6 months.
We need our straw, our substrate that we're gonna grow our mushrooms on. I got this pot from Walmart. It was 10 bucks, just an 8-quart pot, stainless steel. And it's nice just having a designated pot for mushroom related activities. So I'm not constantly using our nice pots. And then we got some pasteurization bags. So we're going to put the straw in these bags and boil them in this pot later and to pasteurize it. And then we're going to need some kind of growing container. In this case, I got a 5-gallon bucket with some holes drilled in it. And we're just going to put the straw and everything in there. You can use any kind of breathable container. I've seen a lot of people use like nursery pots. They stack them on top of each other, and they're filled with substrate. Or you can also use plastic bags. But I find buckets they can hold a lot of substrate, so you can get large quantities of mushrooms out of them. And then you're going to need a table to work on and some gloves to stay clean. You're also going to need some bricks or something heavy to weigh down your straw to make sure it stays submerged while you're pasteurizing it. That's pretty much it. So first step is going to be to start packing up the straw into these bags, so then we can boil it in this pot. All right, so let's get into that.
Right here, we're just stuffing the straw or substrate into our pasteurization bag. I'm using a polypropylene bag, but you can use any kind of water permeable bag. I recommend using something made of natural materials, like an old pillowcase that's made of cotton or a burlap sack, as long as it's water permeable. And right here, we're just packing some wheat straw pellets into the bag there. It's just, I just add that as an extra filler. It's the same thing as the wheat straw as the other substrate I'm using, but it's in pellet form. And then we're also going to add some coffee grounds here. The coffee grounds and the pellets are optional. You don't need to add these, but I add them in my mix when I'm making substrate just for some added nutrition. Next, we're going to fill our pot with some water so we can boil the straw. I recommend when you actually start heating the water up, the water level is going to rise, so I recommend making the water just a little bit over the amount of substrate that you have. And then we're going to put our bricks down on top of that substrate to make sure they don't move. You want to cook your substrate on low to get it around that. You want to keep it around 160 to 180 degrees. So once you start seeing the water simmer, just just a little bit of boiling, then you can go ahead and slowly turn that heat down to stabilize it. And you're going to want to cook that straw for about an hour to an hour and a half to make sure it's good and pasteurized. Next, we're going to clean up our workspace with some chlorhexidine. And we're draining our straw now. I recommend draining as much liquid out as you can. If you have some way to hang your bag of straw to drip dry and cool down, you can do that. Make sure it's just come to a very steady drip, and then you can dump your straw out onto your clean table and spread it out. This is going to help us dry the straw out quicker, as well as helping it cool down. We don't want to inoculate our straw when it's over 100 degrees because that could potentially kill our fungus. I like to wait till the straw is around room temperature, or around low 90s at least. And having a temperature gun for all of this is really helpful. It's not necessary. You can just wait for the straw to be cool to around room temperature, but it's a little bit quicker and a little bit handy to have one of those laser thermometers. All right, so before we start mixing our straw up and messing with it, we're going to sanitize our hands with the chlorhexidine or rubbing alcohol, and we're going to test our straw. So I've left this straw sitting for a few hours now, and it's kind of dry and it's cooled down. So you want the straw to be damp, but not soaked. So when you pick it up, a handful of it, and you squeeze it, it shouldn't drip any water. It should just be really damp. And the next step, once your substrate, your straw has cooled down, we're going to take our mycelium, our spawn, and we're going to crumble it up all over the substrate here. And we want to crumble it up and make the sawdust as fine as possible. The smaller the sawdust and the finer the sawdust, the more inoculation points we'll have in the straw, and the faster the mycelium can spread out and grow. You're just going to want enough spawn to really cover the surface of all of this straw. You just want enough, I'd say about, for every 10 pounds of straw that you have, you can use half a pound to a pound of spawn, and that will be a good amount. All right, so then we're going to mix the spawn and the substrate all together, and this is just going to make sure that that spawn is really well distributed throughout the straw. And then we spray our bucket. You've got to keep everything that this spawn and substrate is touching. We need to make sure it's as clean as possible. So we spray out our bucket and dry that. Next is just going to be packing this mixture of the spawn and the substrate into the bucket. And we're going to pack it down real tight because that straw, it's really bouncy and it kind of it pushes back. So we need to kind of push down and compact it as much as we can to make sure that the space in between the straw is going to be more of a challenge for the mycelium to jump from one piece of straw to the next. So packing it down and making it compact is easier for the mycelium to spread out and feed. But you don't want it too tight. If it's too tight, it can suffocate the mycelium and create pockets of bacterial growth. Also gonna spray down our lid, as you can see there, and wiping down that lid. We're just gonna make sure everything's as sanitized as possible. And put the lid on the bucket, and that's all there is to it. And you're going to want to put your bucket in a trash bag. That's going to help preserve some of the humidity in the bucket and make sure your mycelium doesn't dry out, and make sure it's just growing really healthy. You can also use something called 3M micropore tape. It's like this fabric-like tape, and it's like acts like a filter over those holes, so the mycelium can still breathe, but it'll prevent any contaminants from getting in. Finally, we're going to place our bucket with our spawn substrate. We're just going to put it in a corner in our kitchen here. It's just going to grow there for a month until you see that white mycelium spread out, and it's going to start colonizing and eating up all that straw. And after about a month of the straw colonizing, it should look like this. And that's how you'll know it's ready to fruit. And once your mycelium is fully colonized, you're going to want to go ahead and take off that 3M micropore tape or trash bag, whichever you choose to use, and that's going to allow oxygen to get to the fungus, and it's going to start producing its mushroom.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Mushroom Mountain. Don't forget to leave a like and hit that notification bell and subscribe, and please leave some comments down below. I'd love to hear about your personal experiences cultivating some mushrooms at your house, and what you did, and maybe you got some special techniques you'd like to share. I'd love to hear them. But stick around, we're going to be posting more about cultivation and some foraging videos. And also check us out on our social medias on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. And I will see you guys next time. See you later.